After my crush rejected me, I accidentally hooked up with my aloof roommate. Later, I started getting drowsy and nauseous all the time. My friend joked, "Dude, you're not pregnant, are you?" I kicked him. "Get lost. How the hell does a guy like me get pregnant?" A little while later, I slammed the lab report on my roommate's desk, overcome with despair. "Son of a bitch, I'm pregnant, and you're gonna take responsibility." My confession to my crush was a total failure. I dragged my friend out for drinks. Half a beer in, I threw my arm around Sam's shoulder and started venting. "Sam, I'm seriously crushed this time. You know, I've been into Sarah for a year. A whole damn year. I gave her so many gifts. Thinking about it now, what's the difference between me and a clown?" Sam was incredulous. "A whole year? And you never realized she was gay?" That just made me sadder. "No, she said that was just her bestie." He fell silent, then clinked his bottle against my glass. "Say no more. Just drink." I sighed and chugged the rest of my beer. Honestly, the part that stung the most wasn't finding out she had a girlfriend. It was after she said, "I actually think you're a great guy," and then added, "But if I were into guys, I'd probably be more into someone like Frank." Frank. It's always Frank. That name has been haunting me since high school. Maybe it was the alcohol, but this weird anger started burning hotter and hotter inside me. I grabbed a beer from the table and downed it. Sam was shocked. "Whoa, dude, you're a one-bottle lightweight. Are you planning to pass out here?" "Bro, I can't carry you back by myself." I wiped my mouth. "Not passing out. I'm gonna pick a fight." The booze was starting to hit, and I stumbled my way back. When I got to my dorm room, I kicked the door open. "Frank, I'm here to fight you." Frank seemed to have just gotten out of the shower, with only a towel wrapped around his waist. Droplets of water trickled down his toned muscles, disappearing under the towel. Seeing me, he frowned slightly. "You've been drinking?" I suddenly remembered him saying once, back when we were freshmen, that he hated the smell of alcohol. So I crossed my arms and looked at him defiantly. "Yeah, I have. Got a problem with that?" He glanced at me, then turned back to drying his hair with a towel, saying nothing. I was pissed at his attitude and strode over. "Why aren't you saying anything?" I moved too fast and tripped over my own feet, stumbling toward the floor. On instinct, I grabbed onto something. When I opened my eyes, I had pulled his towel off, and a massive thing was right in front of my face. It even bounced a little. I pulled down my own pants to check, and got even more depressed. Why can't I beat him at anything? Frank's face darkened. "Larry, what the hell are you doing?" I channeled my grief and anger into action, launching myself at him like a torpedo. "I'm here to fight you. It's you or me today." He was caught off guard, and I tackled him onto the bed. His back hit the bed frame with a dull thud. I lifted my head, and my eyes landed on a light-colored mole on his Adam's apple. I couldn't resist reaching out to touch it. Frank's body went rigid, his voice growing husky. "Larry, do you have any idea what you're doing?" The impact had turned my brain to mush. I'd completely forgotten what I was trying to do. "Yeah, what was I gonna do? I'm sleepy. I wanna sleep." He sighed. "Your bed is over there. Get off me if you wanna sleep." "You're so annoying." I grumbled impatiently, squinting at him. "How come you look exactly like that jerk Frank I hate?" He pressed his lips together. "Right, you hate me. So can you get off me now?" I couldn't understand what he was saying anymore, but I was sure it wasn't anything good. After all, Frank's favorite thing to do was shoot me down. "You're not allowed to talk anymore." Frank laughed, annoyed. "Can you be reasonable for a second? You're the one who jumped me, and now you're telling me I can't talk? Just shut up." A smirk played on his lips. "And what if I don't want to?" I stared at his moving mouth and, without thinking, kissed him. The taste of mint instantly filled my mouth. There was a hint of sweetness, too, kind of like mint ice cream or Jell-O that's been chilling in the fridge. Frank's voice was even huskier. "Larry, do you seriously know what you're doing?" I licked the corner of my lips and leaned in again. More. The world spun, and then I heard Frank say, "Don't regret this." I woke up naturally, feeling refreshed. Maybe it was because I drank last night, but my head felt like it was about to split open. I reached up to rub my temples, but the movement sent a sharp pain through a certain, unspeakable place. I froze. Changing direction, I reached down to touch my ass. Before I even made contact, the weird sensation made me suck in a sharp breath. I was completely bewildered. Logically, any part of my body could hurt, but not there. At least it shouldn't. I suddenly remembered Sam telling me about the patients he saw during his colorectal surgery rotation who had all sorts of foreign objects stuck up there. I swallowed hard. Did I really do something that stupid while I was drunk? I tried moving a little, then shakily reached down to feel around again. Thankfully, aside from being a bit swollen and sore, there were no foreign objects. I let out a brief sigh of relief, then was immediately consumed by regret. I knew I shouldn't have been drinking. Now I've blacked out and can't remember a thing. Damn it. What the hell did I do last night? Just as I was trying hard to remember, the dorm room door opened. Frank walked in with lunch, raising an eyebrow at me. You're awake? Good, I brought you lunch. Eat it while it's hot. I opened my mouth, hesitating. When he urged me again, I steeled myself and asked, Frank, do you know what I did last night? He put down the food, his expression unreadable. You don't remember? I mumbled a yeah. I think I drank too much and blacked out. He hooked a stool with his long leg and sat down lazily. He stared into my eyes, held out his hand and said, word by word, last night, you came back to the room, suddenly hugged me and said you liked me. I froze, my eyes widening in disbelief as I pointed a shaky finger at myself. Who? Me? He nodded. I was going to push you away, but you were surprisingly strong. Couldn't. And then you kissed me. I shook my head frantically. No way, absolutely no way. Then you pushed me down and we hooked up. My heart, which had been hanging by a thread, finally died. As a mature, rational, and outstanding college student, I clutched my butt and ran. Are you kidding me? I get rejected by my crush 1 minute, and the next I'm hooking up with my nemesis. And he's a guy. Who could possibly accept that? I sprinted to Sam's room and unceremoniously collapsed onto his bed. But I landed wrong, putting pressure on a certain spot, and the pain made me hiss. I stood up and carefully lay down again. A little while later, Sam came back, humming a tune. He wasn't too surprised to see me. Sobered up? How'd you sleep? I've got some hangover medicine if you want it. My mind was a mess, and I was simmering with anger. No, why didn't you stop me from drinking yesterday? You just let me go back alone. Are you even my friend? Sam was completely baffled by my outburst. Huh? What's wrong? Did you actually go pick a fight with someone last night? Flashes of a different, fragmented kind of fight flickered through my mind. My cheeks burned as I waved a hand guiltily. Forget it, it's nothing. After lying there for a bit, I got up and left quickly. I got something to do, I'm leaving. When I got back to our room, Frank was sitting at his desk, not even sparing me a glance. That just pissed me off more. I walked over and kicked his desk. Hey, your roommate's back. Don't you know how to say hi? Frank lifted his eyes to sweep over me before looking away again. I thought you'd prefer it if we acted like strangers. I choked. Damn it. That's exactly what I wanted. But hearing him say it first just rubbed me the wrong way. But I can't lose face. I cleared my throat and viciously shook my fist. That's right, strangers. Forget everything that happened last night. If you dare tell anyone, you'll be asking for a beating. Frank replied coolly, yeah, got it. I was left hanging, my frustration bubbling. I returned to my desk with a sullen face, and a careless move sent another jolt of pain through my ass. I sucked in a breath. Suddenly, Frank stood up, walked over, and handed me a tube of ointment. This is for you. I bought it this morning. It helps with the swelling. I was a little stunned. You bought this for me? He gave me a look. Who else? I rubbed my nose. Oh, thanks. He didn't say anything else and went back to his computer to play games. I climbed into my bed, pulled the curtain shut, and started figuring out how to apply the cream. An image of Frank's face flashed in my mind. You know, maybe he wasn't so bad after all. The moment that thought popped into my head, I shook it away and focused on the ointment instructions. It was a lot harder than I thought. I even had to apply it a little. Inside, I fell silent. Let me repeat. I'm a straight guy. How am I supposed to do this? I gave myself 1,000 pep talks. Whatever, just pretend you have hemorrhoids and need to apply medicine. I twisted myself into a pretzel, my hand reaching for the spot. Almost there. The moment I touched it, I couldn't help but let out a soft whimper. From the pain. I gritted my teeth, trying to push the cream in, but I couldn't see what I was doing and couldn't get the right angle. I was panting from the effort. Just as I was about to try again, Frank tapped on my bed curtain. His voice was husky. As your stranger roommate, I feel the need to remind you that I'm a normal guy. Your panting is affecting me, affecting my ass. You perv. I cursed him in my head. I don't know what wire snapped, but I yanked open the curtain. My eyes were still watery from the earlier sting, and I glared at him as menacingly as I could. You did this to me. As the culprit, you're going to help me put this on. When Sam came looking for me the next day, I was still a wreck. Frank was at class, so he just barged into my room. What's up, man? What's so serious that you had me call you in sick for the whole day? My expression was complicated. I wanted to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. It all ended in a sigh. Forget it, you wouldn't understand. I'm basically a dead man walking right now. Sam was horrified. What's wrong? What do you have? Why are you dying? I stared blankly at the ceiling. Couldn't tell him. How could I explain that I got turned on while Frank was applying my ointment? As I struggled, he thought I was just afraid of the pain, so he held me down even more firmly. And then, it happened. When a certain smell started to spread in the confined space, both Frank and I froze. Especially me. I had only one thought at that moment. Either I die right now or I kill Frank. I felt his body stiffen as he let me go. His voice was even raspier than before. The medicine's on. Just lie on your stomach for a bit and don't move. I'm gonna take a shower. I pulled the curtain shut and stayed up all night, contemplating my life until now. My feelings were too complex. My brain was fried. I rolled over. I just didn't get enough rest. It's fine. I'm gonna sleep now. You can go. After that incident, the relationship between Frank and me dropped to absolute zero. We were complete strangers. Thankfully, the ointment he bought worked wonders. He only had to apply it once for it to feel much better, and I could handle the rest myself over the next few days. But I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like Frank was in the dorm a lot more often than before. I'd be rushing to an 8 a.m. class and see him coming back from a morning run, changing his clothes. His 8-pack and V-lines would just be glistening right in front of me. I'd come back at night to play some games on my computer, and it would just so happen to be when he was coming out of the bathroom, wrapped only in a towel, water droplets rolling down his muscles. I'd frantically look away, my tone harsh. As your stranger roommate, I feel the need to remind you that even in the dorm, you should be mindful of your attire. It's better to have some boundaries. Frank would say nonchalantly back in freshman year, the RA told us to treat the school as our home. This is how I dress at home. I'd grind my teeth in frustration. Who the hell said Frank was aloof? The guy's got a sharp tongue. I had actually gotten used to it, but then, I don't know when it started, he not only installed a bed curtain but also started changing inside it. He'd even come out of the shower fully dressed in neat pajamas. Catching my gaze before I could look away, he'd smirk and say, I think you had a point. As stranger roommates, it really wasn't appropriate for me to be dressed like that in the dorm before. I was stunned. Wait, what? Are you freaking kidding me? He's bringing up something I said over a month ago, telling me I was right, and now he's deciding to act on it. I was fuming, but I had nowhere to vent. I complained to Sam about Frank's behavior. He looked at me with a complicated expression. Bro, the name you've been mentioning the most lately is Frank. I'm starting to think you're not complaining about him, you're just flirting. Get lost. I kicked out at him, covered my mouth. Just saying that makes me want to puke again. I started dry heaving. Sam patted my back to help, his face full of worry. What's wrong? Feels like your stomach has been off lately. Have you taken any medicine? Do you need to go to the hospital? I rinsed my mouth with some water, feeling listless. No. You're a med student, you know all medicine is basically poison, right? Besides, this only happens sometimes. It's probably just stress and exhaustion causing nervous vomiting. Sam grabbed my wrist and placed his fingers on it. Let me take your pulse. Even though I didn't trust his skills, I didn't resist, curious to see what he'd come up with. He felt it for a while, his expression turning strange. I sensed something was off. What is it? Did you find something? He swallowed. Larry, why do I feel like this pulse is a pregnancy pulse? I was silent. Then I got up and drop-kicked him. You should quit med school and get yourself checked out first. You're gonna end up drooling in a padded room. Sam looked frantic. No, Larry, for real. I just learned how to read a joyful pulse. I wouldn't say it if I wasn't at least a little sure. I remained silent. I licked my lips, a bitter laugh escaping. So, you're saying me a guy is pregnant? Are you kidding me? A few days later, I was standing outside the private hospital Sam's family owns, trembling as I held the lab report. The HCG level was ridiculously high. Even an idiot could figure it out. I was definitely pregnant. Combined with my recent fatigue and nausea, it all fit the symptoms of early pregnancy. Sam looked dazed. Larry, but you've always been so careful. What the hell happened? Can you self-pollinate or something? My face was grim. The report crumpled in my fist. I patted his shoulder. Please keep this a secret for me. I don't want to become some rare specimen that gets captured for research. Sam nodded quickly. Don't worry, Larry. My family is super reliable. They definitely won't spread this around. I grunted in acknowledgement. I'm heading out. He called after me. Larry, where are you going? I cracked my knuckles, a cold sneer on my face. To get revenge. Frank was at his desk, sitting in front of his computer. All the anger I had bottled up instantly turned into a tidal wave of grievance the moment I saw him. I even felt like crying. I sniffled, then slammed the report down next to his computer. Frank, I'm pregnant, and you're gonna take responsibility. Frank froze for a second, then frowned and picked up the report, studying it for a long time before asking, Is this your test result? You're pregnant? Hearing the disbelief in his tone, I exploded. What do you mean? You doubt me? You think I joke about something like this? Frank. He quickly tried to calm me down. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. Don't be mad. Sit down. Don't upset the baby. I was still fuming. Upset your ass. He swept me up in his arms, carefully placed me on the bed, and then knelt beside it, looking up at me. Okay. Tomorrow I'll take you to meet my ass. Just don't be angry, okay? He twisted my words. This isn't about meeting your whatever. He chuckled softly, took my hand, and placed a kiss on the back of it. His expression turned serious as he asked, Larry, no matter what, I'm the father of the child in your belly now. For his sake, would you be willing to give me a title? I snorted. Who do you think you are? I'm not even sure if I'm keeping him. You're way down the list. Frank didn't get angry. His fingers continued to caress the back of my hand where he had kissed it. He smiled. Then let's not talk about him. Let's talk about us. Larry, I like you. Even if you're not willing to give me a title right now, would you at least give me a chance to pursue you? I was completely stunned. What do you mean? You like me? He nodded. Impossible. I denied it without a second thought. Everyone knows you're not gay. Wait, I'm not either, but the more I tried to explain, the more tangled I got, so I just shut up. He chuckled. It's true, I'm not gay. I just like you. It has nothing to do with gender. It's just because it's you. My heart was pounding like a drum. After a long silence, I finally spoke slowly. Frank, are you confessing to me now because of this baby? You're just saying this because you want me to keep it, aren't you? I kicked his shin. Get lost. I unilaterally declared a cold war with Frank. I'd been staying at the off-campus apartment Sam's dad bought for him. Sam was a true bro. Larry, you can stay here as long as you want. A cleaning lady comes regularly to clean and air the place out, so it's pretty clean. As for Frank, I'll go round up some guys and beat him up right now. I grabbed him, completely baffled. Wait, why would you beat him up? He froze. Didn't Frank bully you out of your dorm room? Don't worry, Larry. I'll definitely get you justice. I was speechless. Get back here. Sighing, I briefly explained the whole situation to him. His jaw dropped wide enough to fit an egg. So, the baby is actually Frank's? I nodded. He confessed to you, but you think he only said it because of the baby? I nodded again. Sam fell silent. He cautiously raised his hand to speak. Larry, maybe, and this is just a guess, is it possible that he was being sincere? I mean, guys getting pregnant is a massive long shot. I think the chances of him doing it just for the baby are pretty small. I blinked blankly. He was right. Logically, me getting pregnant was a freak occurrence. Who could have ever guessed a guy like me would suddenly get pregnant? So, Frank's confession was genuine? He really likes me? Sam patted my shoulder. Larry, I'm guessing the hormones are making you emotional. I'll have my family get you some Chinese medicine. It's milder and won't affect the fetus. I nodded. He paused, then added, but, speaking of which, Larry, are you planning to keep the baby, or are you thinking about terminating it? I lowered my gaze, my hand instinctively going to my still flat stomach. I don't know. Let me think about it. Because of what Sam said, I, who had been sleeping all the time, had a rare night of insomnia. When I went for a checkup a couple of days ago, the embryo was developing perfectly. It even had a heartbeat, strong and steady. If I could carry it to term, it would probably be a healthy, lively kid. But I'm a man after all. Never mind how weird the whole situation felt. The fact that I could even get pregnant was already hard to explain with science. Not to mention the whole mess of prenatal checkups, delivery, and everything else that would follow. As I was thinking, Frank's face appeared in my mind again. Why was I missing him? I rolled over in frustration, pulled the kicked-off blanket back over my stomach, and closed my eyes, trying to sleep. I couldn't come to a decision on my own, so I had to talk it over with Frank. He seemed to have done a lot of research. He soothed my emotions perfectly, patiently laying out the pros and cons with data he'd gathered. I've asked experts from all over, both here and abroad. Cases of male pregnancy are incredibly rare. To be safe, surgery to remove it would be the best option. But if you want to have it, we can go abroad. I've already contacted specialists and professors. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. I stared at him for a long time before saying, I think this is the first time I've ever heard you talk so much. He smiled. So how do you feel? Do you feel my sincerity? My gaze drifted down to his lips. I swallowed. Your lips kind of look like Jell-O. They looked like they'd be delicious. Frank froze for a moment. Then his eyes deepened. Then do you want to have a taste? Before I could answer, he leaned in and kissed me. His movements were gentle, and he carefully supported my waist and stomach. After a wet kiss, he stared at me intently, his voice sounding incredibly pitiful. So, will you consider giving me a title? I didn't mind him kissing me. On the contrary, I was kind of happy about it, and my heart was racing. When I realized that, I knew I was in trouble. Looks like I'm not going to be a lone wolf academic after all. I've fallen in love. But if I could accept being pregnant, the fact that Frank had turned me gay didn't seem to be a huge mental burden anymore. I licked my lips and hooked my arm around his neck. Frank, I'm not feeling good. If you make me feel better, I might consider it. He leaned over me again, his voice unbelievably hoarse. You said it. I slept until noon the next day. Staring at the ceiling, I felt completely drained. He was considerate of my condition and didn't go all the way, but I was thoroughly eaten clean in every other sense of the word. Seriously, where did he learn all that stuff? I cried and begged for mercy, my voice hoarse. Frank, I really can't take it anymore. But he just kissed my tear-stained eyelids and whispered, No, I haven't served you well enough yet. You still haven't given me my title. It wasn't until I finally gave in and admitted he was my boyfriend that he happily held me and went for another 2 rounds before finally letting me sleep. The beast. I spit on him. You're awake? Frank's voice pulled me back from my wandering thoughts. I looked over. Frank was standing at the door holding a steaming pot, his face glowing with satisfaction. Awake? Your loving boyfriend made you the world's most delicious seafood porridge. I'll say it again, your loving boyfriend made it. Get up and eat it while it's hot. I was expressionless. Honestly, I was immune by now. Ever since I caved last night and acknowledged his status, He'd practically started using loving boyfriend as a punctuation mark. At first, it gave me goosebumps all over, but now I can automatically tune those two words out. I crossed my arms, deciding to tease him. What are you talking about? I don't understand. He froze. The title. We agreed last night. I beckoned him over. After he sat down, I whispered in his ear, let me teach you a lesson today. Words a man says in bed don't count. Frank narrowed his eyes. He started unbuttoning his shirt. My intuition told me this was not good. Frank, what are you doing? He curved his lips. Since words in bed don't count, let's just stay in bed forever. Even if it's all lies, I'm willing. I surrender. I can't outplay him. Seriously, how did I not notice before that Frank was such a flirty psycho? I touched my stomach. What am I going to do? The baby's dad is an idiot. Will this gene be passed down to the next generation? The thought shocked me. It seemed that subconsciously, I had already accepted this child. Frank sat on the edge of the bed, holding a spoon to my lips. Loving boyfriend brand seafood porridge has cooled down. Open up. I clutched the blanket and looked up at him. What's wrong? I bit my lip and said seriously, Frank, I want to have this baby. The spoon fell back into the bowl. His expression was dead serious. Really? You've really thought it through? I nodded. Yes, I've thought it through. I want to keep this baby. He put the porridge aside and intertwined his fingers with mine. Okay, then let's do this together. The timing of this baby was perfect. Calculating the due date, it fell right during winter break. The baby was also very well behaved. Even though I was over 5 months along, as long as I wore loose clothes, you basically couldn't tell. It just made people think Frank was feeding me too well and I'd gotten a little rounder. Yes, the whole school knew Frank and I were together. Frank himself leaked it to the campus confessions page, complete with a long, rambling love letter that caused a sensation across the entire university. The two guys least likely to be gay got gay together. After finding out we were both gay, some other people got ideas. So Frank submitted another post to the confessions page. Everyone can give up now. I'm not gay. I just like Larry. It's him or no one. As for my darling Larry, he's my boyfriend, so don't even think about it. We are a perfect match, a top-tier couple, a match made in heaven. We're locked in for life, and not even God himself could tear us apart. And so, it went viral on campus again. The rest of them finally gave up. But unexpectedly, the news reached Frank's parents' ears, and they insisted on coming over without another word. On the day I was supposed to meet his parents, I was incredibly nervous. Frank, what if your parents don't like me? His eyes softened, and just as he was about to speak, I added, if your parents try to hand me a check, do you think $10 million is a reasonable amount? His face instantly darkened, and he said through gritted teeth, am I only worth $10 million to you? I coughed guiltily and looked away. He took my hand and comforted me gently. Don't worry. If I like someone, my parents will definitely like them too. The moment Frank's mom saw me, before I could even say hello, she pulled me into a tight hug and started crying. In her warm embrace, I heard her choked voice, you poor child, you've suffered so much. My nose tingled, and my eyes started to well up too. It had been a long time since my parents passed away. I hadn't felt this kind of family warmth in ages. Frank grumbled from the side, Mom, that's enough. I haven't even gotten to hug my Larry that long. His mom let go of me and gestured for me to sit, then held out her hand. Frank's dad, getting the signal, presented the belt he had somehow already unbuckled. She started chasing Frank around, hitting him. How dare you not use protection? Look what you've done to Larry. Do you have any idea how hard pregnancy is? And Larry's a boy. Who knows how much more he has to suffer? I'm telling you, you brat, if you dare treat Larry poorly, you'll never step foot in the family house again. You hear me? Frank yelped as he was being hit. I know, Mom. I quickly tried to intervene. Ma'am, please stop. It wasn't his fault. Who could have guessed that one night would get a man like me pregnant? His dad patted my shoulder. It's fine. Let your mom hit him. She'll feel better after. His mom chased Frank around for a little longer, then finally stopped, panting. She sat back down next to me, took my hand, and patted the back of it. Good boy. From now on, if he ever dares to bully you, you tell me, and I'll make him disappear from the face of this earth. Frank rubbed the spots where he'd been hit. Mom, am I really your biological son? Watching their interaction, a sense of belonging suddenly bloomed in my heart. At 8 months, Frank took a long leave of absence from school and took me abroad. The fetus was developing exceptionally well. But for my own sake, the experts all recommended an early C-section. After the anesthesia kicked in, I didn't know anything. It was Sam who told me later that after my successful surgery, when they wheeled me out, Frank looked at my haggard face and just broke down crying. While the anesthesia was still in effect, he would ask the nurse every few minutes why I hadn't woken up yet. When I regained consciousness, the first thing I saw was him with swollen, red eyes telling me, "My darling, I'm going to get a vasectomy in a few days. Be good. We're never going through this again." I recovered well after the delivery. It was a little girl. We named her Grace with the nickname Gracie. The name signified that she was a gift from both Larry and Frank. Neither Frank nor I cared whose last name she took, but later, Frank's mom insisted that since I had worked so hard to give birth to her, she had to take my last name. And so, the name was decided. As two new dads, Frank and I knew nothing and were a complete mess. Frank's mom couldn't stand it and came to help, which was when we could finally breathe a sigh of relief. She cooed at the little girl in her arms, grinning from ear to ear. "It's okay, just leave Gracie to me. You two go do what you need to do." With some free time of his own, Frank became even clingier. He hugged me, nuzzling against me pitifully. "Ever since Gracie was born, I feel like you've grown distant." I found it hilarious. "Frank, are you seriously competing for attention with a baby who can't even talk? I don't care. Your loving boyfriend feels neglected and needs your comfort." As he spoke, his hands started to get restless. I pretended not to understand. "So, how do you want me to comfort you?" He bit my lip, swept me up, and tossed me onto the soft bed. I wiped my mouth. "Not sleeping. I'm gonna pick a fight." We ended up taking 3 showers, and I didn't even have the strength to kick him anymore. He reached out and wrapped an arm around my waist. I lazily pushed him away. "Get off, I have no energy left." He chuckled softly, kissed my forehead gently, and asked, "My dearest Larry, when are you going to upgrade my loving boyfriend title to loving husband?" I played dead. His fingers moved downwards and started up again. Panicked. "How many times has it been? Aren't you afraid of dying from exhaustion?" He said, full of soulful passion. "If I can die on top of you, then I'm willing." "Get lost." "I'm not willing." I collapsed weakly in his arms. As my hand touched his abs, I suddenly remembered that time in the dorm when he was always bundled up. I asked him why he did that. He rubbed his nose and said, exasperated, "Wasn't it to seduce you?" I was prepared for a long battle, but I didn't expect a little Gracie to completely derail all my plans. But it's okay, in the end I still got my Larry. I stared at his face for a moment, then turned away nonchalantly. "Let's find a time to get the license." "Yeah, huh. I'm finally getting a promotion." "Wah. I knew my honey was the best to me." "Shut up. I'm warning you, we're still just boyfriends right now, so don't use that word." "I don't care, you're my honey. It's set in stone. You can't run away." "Honey, honey, honey. Shut up. I'm going to sleep." "How can you sleep at such an exciting time?" "Don't sleep. Wait with me for the sun to rise. We'll sprint to City Hall and be the first ones to get a license." "Waiting for the sun is fine, but keep your hands to yourself." "Hiss, Frank. Be good. Call me hubby." "Get lost."